Today's episode is about something bigger than business, bigger than markets, and bigger than any one organization. There are homeless men and women that have served our country, that are living in our community, that are facing shelter crisis, food insecurities, and isolation. But there's also a change that's happening. Our community is coming together to help serve those that have served us. Today, Mike is sitting down with Stephanie from Liberty House, an organization that is near and dear to our hearts. Our clients and our team have been going out and volunteering and making an impact, the type that is truly important to the community. I hope you enjoy this episode.
So we've got Stephanie here from Liberty House. Stephanie, first of all, thank you for joining us on this kind of special episode of Saturday State of Mind. This is our first time actually talking to somebody about what it is that we're up to in terms of our charitable outreach and support. We've been working with Liberty House and you specifically for the better part of the last year, which has been truly amazing for us and super impactful. So just thank you for doing this.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
A great place, I think, to start would be just to give you the floor here and talk to a lot of people here who maybe don't know what Liberty House is or what its mission might be. Tell people about Liberty House.
Okay. So Liberty House is a program under Catholic Charities, New Hampshire. We are a transitional sober living facility for veterans, male veterans, who are struggling with housing instability. We offer really intense case management. So every veteran that comes through our doors to live with us has an assigned case manager who works with them to make sure that they're getting all their essential documents. A lot of them come in, they don't even have their social security card or their birth certificate. So we assist them in getting those things. We also assist them with connecting with the VA so that we can check and see if they're service connection eligible. We have a lot of different resources in the community that helps with maybe some financial hardships between repairs on their vehicles or maybe some outstanding utility bills that they need support paying. So that is one portion of what we do, and that's our resident side. We also have an on-site pantry that basically provides food, clothing, and toiletries for our community veterans. So they are able to come to our facility and shop in our pantry on a weekly basis and get some of those essential items that, basically helps their pocketbook a little bit.
Yeah, already I'm blown away. I mean, I remember when we first stepped foot at Liberty House and started to learn this story, there's just so much depth to what it is that you do. And I think in part, at least, in this country, you hear a lot about how veterans don't get enough support. We need to do more for our veterans, right? And I think that there's a little bit of a misunderstanding of what homeless veterans, in terms of what they face every single day, the issues that they have. So could you break that down a little bit in terms of exactly what a homeless veteran has to deal with? So coming back, having issues, and what kind of support that they need and what they get them Liberty has?
Yeah, I think there's a big misconception. I think a lot of people think that it's basically based on all their choices or bad choices that they've made that's put them in a homeless situation. But there's a lot of underlying issues that come along, such as mental health, things that they experienced during being in the military, PTSD, alcohol and drug-related substance use. All of those things contribute to putting them in that situation. And, that doesn't make up who they are as a human being or as a veteran. So I think a lot of people can just picture some homeless veteran holding, the American flag and a cardboard sign asking for help. And that's not really what it is. There's a lot of moving pieces, and we're just there to basically lend a hand up, not a hand out. Dignity is extremely important, and that is one thing we want them to see themselves as a human being and not us just trying to solve a problem.
Sometimes it's, I think, easier to understand how it is that you're helping these people through stories that you've experienced, right? So would there be some examples of impact that you've had or stories that stick with you that people should know about?
Sure. One of the most important things we offer to our residents when they come in, especially if they're not familiar with the VA, is we try to get them service connected. So if there's anything that they've dealt with or experienced in the military, whether it's an injury, loss of hearing, exposure to burn pits, PTSD, we try to connect them with the VA to help them get compensation and benefits from those situations that they were put in. So it's really exciting when they get that letter in the mail stating that they have been considered eligible for a disability. And it's just something that they've raised their right hand to commit to serving our country, and in the interim ended up developing some sort of injury or illness, and they're being compensated for it. So those are some big wins because, again, that's going to help them financially, and it's, again, an acknowledgement of what they've done for our country.
Now, there might be this misconception, right? Because Liberty House is first and foremost a shelter. And then you talked about the part of your mission is to do the food pantry. So I think sometimes people isolate your work to just food and shelter, but it sounds like it's so much more. You've already touched on some of that. What else should people know that Liberty House does for these veterans?
So we don't really look at ourselves as a shelter. We look at it because when you say shelter, it can be considered short-term. It can be considered maybe just a one-night stay. We're more considered a program. So we're a 4-step program where our first step is basically focusing on recovery and finding purpose. Our second step is basically health and wellness, making sure that they're connecting with PCPs, dental. A lot of these guys haven't seen a doctor in years. Our third step is finding meaningful employment. And our fourth step is basically transitioning into independence.
Wow. Okay.
So, I mean, that really is something that maybe we get a lot of phone calls from folks saying, hey, I'm looking for a room. And it's like, well, we're not really a shelter. We are a program. And they can stay with us for up to a year. Which is really helpful to help them get on their feet, save money. And we've had guys leave with quite a great nest egg. And it's just a great way to start off their new life.
It's interesting because when you volunteer at Liberty House, you're literally at some points shoulder to shoulder with some of these guys. And it can be a little bit like intimidating, even from a volunteer's perspective.
Yeah.
What do I do? What do I say? Should I talk to them?
Right.
And you've mentioned as part of the training for volunteers how much dignity matters, particularly for these men.
Yes.
So how you volunteer matters. And so could you speak a little bit about what successful volunteering looks like at Liberty House?
Sure. So, monetary donations are always welcome. In-kind donations are always welcome. But even just a simple delivery of a meal or treats that we can put on the dining room table for the guys. I think the guys always feel pretty, acknowledged when they see volunteers painting the walls like you guys did for us, working in the pantry, helping out our community veterans. They get to see the hands-on stuff, not just the stuff that happens behind closed doors, which is more so the monetary and in-kind type donations. So even something as small as just delivering a meal or, it doesn't have to be some extravagant donation for it to be impactful for these guys.
Well, you just said it. They'll always take the funds, right? Because you're always looking for more and more money. That's it's the easiest way to give back, right? Is just to write a check. But you also talk a lot about how important it is to physically volunteer. And so could you describe why that's helpful for Liberty House or the guys that are, taking up residence there?
So one thing is we have a small staff. So there's a lot of moving parts that go down at Liberty House. We have our on-site pantry, and we do get a lot of donations of food, and all of it needs to be labeled and dated so that nothing is expired. All those things need to be done and then placed on the shelves. So, it's a big job. We get a lot of clothing donations. We got to go through everything. So it's helpful when we have a volunteer come in, and Carol, who is our pantry coordinator, who's amazing, but she's also part-time. She's able to kind of divvy up some of those tasks when she's super busy doing something else. That on-site support is great. But also just the little things, just stopping by to drop off vegetables from your garden. That happens quite a bit. Some of the coveted items we need for our community veterans are gas cards. So sometimes we'll have just a wonderful person in the community that drops off, $5, $20 gas cards. And you wouldn't believe how helpful it's been for some of our community vets who just need gas just to visit our pantry. So that's always exciting to be able to give those little gifts out and help them.
Yeah, that's what kind of struck me when we volunteered the days that we have, in that you figure that sometimes writing a check or just dropping off some canned goods is enough. And, that's great, right? Wonderful. It's definitely a start. But then we go into like your basement and it's a labyrinth of clothing. And I never stopped to think about where all those clothes go when you drop them in a donation bin or give them somewhere, right? It has to be sorted. It has to be categorized. So there's all these individual tasks, right? For sorting the clothes, sorting the food. The way that you even prepare the pantry to me was amazing. It was like being like in a mini grocery store. And I was wondering privately, how is it possible? Because we met your team and they're weren't a lot of them, right? How do they get this all done? And I think that really drives home how important volunteering is. And sometimes what we hear from like clients or other people in the community is, well, I don't have a lot of time. And I think like part of what we realize is you don't have to donate a ton of time to make an impact. Even just 30 minutes here or 60 minutes there seems to be really helpful, right? And it doesn't even require necessarily interacting with the veterans. There's so much behind the scenes work, right? If you're feeling more shy or something like that, where you can make a difference. So where would you say, like, if people do want to put boots on the ground, what they might expect if they were to volunteer, say, at Liberty House?
Sure. There's quite a few areas that we use and can use help and need help. Even just being able to reach out to organizations for one of our fundraisers. So we always do raffle items. So if you're someone who has a lot of connections in the community or has friends that own a restaurant or that could donate a gift card that we could use as a raffle item, that would be an easy way. But on site, usually preparing the clothing, helping label the sizes, putting them out on the pantry floor, again, labeling cans and helping Carol in any way that she needs. Because again, like you said, not everything is usable. We do work with a recycling company for all the clothing that we don't use. So that is helpful that we have that outlet to get things off property because we do have limited space. But it is definitely helpful to have those hands-on in the basement to get everything organized.
You talked too about community partnerships and why they're important. So I know with Arcadia, as an example, this past year, we've tried to do a lot for you folks. We've had a shred event where we were collecting canned goods while people were shredding everything post-tax season. We had boots on the ground. We were helping with some of the renovations that you've got. So it wasn't just a one-off. We're trying to get there several times throughout the year to be a consistent presence. And I know that you're looking to kind of form similar partnerships with other parts of the community. What does that look like? And also, why would you describe in some cases it can be more valuable for Liberty House to have consistent partnerships as opposed to a series of one-offs?
Well, I'd like to start off by saying you guys have been one of the most creative businesses to support us.
I get no credit for any of that.
Well,
amazing to you.
Your pain is wonderful. Just because it's been broken down by quarters and it's been so great. Like the first quarter was all about allowing your clients to come in and see Liberty House and hands-on volunteer for us and kind of get to know our residents and our staff. And that was wonderful. It was so helpful. I mean, you guys painted our whole upstairs as well as just making sure our pantry was up and running smoothly. So that was great. I know you have the share, shred and share. But I mean, so creative. What a great way to like get your clients involved. I mean, shred and then also know that they're doing something good for the veteran community by donating food for our pantry. Yeah. And I look forward to what's next because you guys have been so creative. But a lot of businesses, they may not have that, team to be as creative as you guys have been. So, I mean, just a one-time check would be great. A lot of the time we're looking for sponsorships for our events, which is great because it brings high visibility for the business because there are a lot of benefits that come with being a sponsor, whether it be highlights on social media or having signage at the event. There's a lot of different special ways to really acknowledge a business when they're supporting one of our events. So, but you guys have been wonderful. And again, like I said, I'm so excited to see what you guys come up with for the rest of the year.
What motivates you to do this? Because I'm sure there are tough days. There have to be really tough days there, right? What makes you get up every single day to do this?
Knowing that I'm going to accomplish something that's going to help one of the brave men in our country who raised their right hand to fight for our freedom. And to me, that is just incredible. We're a nonprofit. This is not a business where you're gonna make $1 million, but again, I lay my head down every single night knowing that I am helping someone better their life and move forward out of a very dark place. And even if I'm just a small part in their journey, that's a really good feeling.
Yeah, I think that makes you a brave hero too, Stephanie,
Well,
right?
thank you.
To dedicate yourself to doing this, helping these guys, right, when they need help desperately. one of the things that I enjoyed most about getting to know you and volunteering at Liberty House is kind of learning a little bit about what a day in the life looks like for a professional volunteer. I think people might want to know at least a little bit, what does a day look like for you at Liberty House?
Sure. So we have our calendar, and basically what I have to do at the beginning of the week is schedule when I'm going to meet with my guys and have case management. So I usually meet with 2 or 3 guys a day, and we just kind of connect. We talk about what's going on with them, whether it has to do with upcoming appointments, where they're at with looking for employment, if we need to follow up with their service connection. So there's a lot of things that we work on throughout their time with Liberty House. And it's just a joy. It's an adventure, to say the least, because we're just constantly like checking off one thing, one box at a time, because there's usually a lot. Like I said at the beginning, whether it's, getting their essential documents in place, paying off a debt, finding a second job to increase their savings.
Okay. I know funding is always the primary obstacle, but I'm sure Liberty House is dreaming bigger in terms of how it would like to continue to evolve. Could you describe a little bit about what the dream is if we were thinking maybe 3 or 5, 10 years down the road?
Yeah.
What Liberty House might look like ideally for you?
Well, ideally, we would love to get another building. We would love to have a transitional house from Liberty House where once they transition into the community, they would have an apartment building where they could receive aftercare. Definitely less case management, not as intense, but just to have someone looking out after them after they leave our program. Another dream is we would love to have a house for women. We right now only serve our male veteran community, but that would definitely be something in the future we would love to consider. But right now, I know Ashley and the Catholic Charities team have always been kind of keeping an eye out for any buildings in the city that may be a good option for apartment living so that, again, when our guys transition out, they have a place to go.
Okay. And so you said you started off serving 9 men. How many men are currently being serviced by Liberty House?
We can house up to 18 men right now, and we're making some program changes where it's going to be probably go up to about 20.
Okay. I want to continue to follow the evolution. So we talked about sometimes it's difficult for these men just to even reach out for help, but assuming they get over that hump, they don't just get stuff from Liberty House. There's a strict set of rules, right, to set them up for success. Yeah. And then also, I think that kind of lends itself to describe, well, what does success look like? Because at some point we're trying to get them back integrated into the community. So I would love for you to talk a little bit about what it takes or what's required of a resident to get help from Liberty House, and then what that transition looks like ideally to make it so that they don't need that support anymore.
Sure. So we require them to have at least 1 year service. They need to provide their military documentation, whether it's their DD-214 or their VA card. And then they come on board. We basically check their bank statements to make sure that they are appropriate for our house. And we also want to make sure that they're a good fit as well. And they're also interviewing us. They need to make sure that this is a place that they're going to thrive and be able to take advantage of all we offer. Again, we do have a strict savings plan only to benefit them so that when they transition out, they have a nice nest egg to first and last month's rent, or whether it's, safety deposit, all of those different things that come with finding an apartment. A lot of the time they come to us with no employment, so we work with them to create their resumes and, get them connected with any training they would like. We have a lot of guys that want to get into HVAC or the trades, so we help them find resources to pay for school. So there's a lot of different things that we offer them that helps with getting them on track to transition out. Again, the savings is huge. Employment, their health, their dental. I mean, some of these guys haven't seen a dentist in years, and they really have a lot of work to be done. So we partner with a really wonderful dentist in Goffstown, Goffstown Smiles, who are just wonderful to us. So all those things are really important that we help them get taken care of, lowering debt. So we always do a credit check when they come. Find out what their credit score is. And then as months go on, we double check it and see how things are going. We help them come up with a financial budget, just again, to get as much debt off their plate so they are set for, transitioning out. So that's really, really important.
Okay. Yeah, we're big fans of all the financial disciplines
Yes.
that you're instilling there, right? I think that's good policy. And I wonder if there's anything that you could share concerning success, right? You've seen your share of people who come grace your threshold. Does anything stand out? Like, you don't have to go obviously with naming names or similar, but like if people want to understand truly what the impact taking somebody who was down and out and then seeing them graduate to having a better life, is there a story or two that you could tell that would really kind of encapsulate that?
I think one of the big ones is those who feel that they don't want to reach out to VA to see if they're service connected. I think they think that, oh no, there's people who have served longer than me that have dealt with more, trauma, more issues. I don't deserve it. Or they apply and they're denied, and then we encourage them, you have to appeal, you got to keep trying. And then, they get their back pay of $30,000. It's amazing. And I mean, there's tears, there's cheers, it's just, those are the wins that they would never have expected if they didn't have the support of Liberty House.
So you've mentioned this several times, and it must be one of your greatest challenges. There are these people that need help, but they either resist it because of pride, or it's got to be one of the more frustrating things. They feel like, well, there's other people who are more deserving than me, and it's like, hey, like you need help too. How do you break through to people like these residents before they're even getting services from you to get through that mentality where they're stuck to being accepting of getting help from an organization like yours?
We resort back to past residents who have graduated, and we share their successes. And sometimes we even have them come back to we have house meetings once a month. And they come and they discuss, where they were and where they are now, years later. We have guys that have graduated who still come on a weekly basis to Liberty House to check in with the staff and just say hi. Just to come in and give us a quick hug and let us know how they're doing. So I think definitely the past definitely shows how bright their future can be by, showing them and discussing past residents and their successes. And so I really think that, highlighting past residents and graduates of the program is a really great indicator of what could be if they follow the program.
Okay. I would say that one of the things that we're trying to do with this conversation and our mission of supporting Liberty House is to kind of be tangential to what our greater mission is as a financial planning agency, which is to help our clients live fearlessly like every day is Saturday. One of the things that we try to instill value-wise with our clients is that while we want them living their best lives, it's just to remember that outside of their concentric circle of themselves and then their family, there's people in the community that maybe don't get to live every day like it's Saturday. They have major challenges. And I think a lot of our clients recognize that, and they want to give or they want to volunteer. But I've got to imagine in a lot of cases, they're feeling confused or maybe a little bit overwhelmed or possibly intimidated about actually being a presence and trying to have an impact. Sure. What would you say to those people in terms of, I don't know, how do you get them over the hump and say, hey, listen, this is what to expect if you were to reach out a hand to Liberty House?
I think people think they have to do something extravagant to volunteer, to make an impact. And that is so not the case. Again, monetary, in-kind donations, clothing, just a meal on a Friday night, or dropping off a meal on a Sunday to support our guys, and just let them know that they're there and that they care about them. Again, reaching out to our assistant director, Jennifer Barlow, if you're interested in, having a schedule with Liberty House as a volunteer. You can reach out, you fill out some forms, and then you basically dictate when you're available. As you said before, it doesn't have to be a 4-hour shift. If you just have an hour on your lunch break and you wanted to come in and sort some food, or, drop something off from your garden, those things are very impactful. And we share it all. I was saying before, a lot of schools in the area like to do things during certain, military holidays. And our guys love receiving cards from the elementary schools. We lay them out in the dining room and they pick through them, and it just, puts a smile on their face, and it just shows that they're remembered and acknowledged, and that our younger generation is learning about why they're so important and, how they're supporting them.
Yeah, to me, this sounds like the most important thing is to reach out. People are going to be comfortable doing different things, and some of the people that are going to be reached by this conversation have amazing talents, whether it's preparing meals or just being able to sit down and have a nice conversation. It all comes down to a certain extent to time. right? I think what you're looking for from people is time, and however they want to donate that by being a presence, sorting things through the basement, helping out with the food pantry. There's just so many different, that's what I think is so easy about supporting Liberty House. Is it's not that you just do one thing. You're doing so many things that there's a plethora of opportunities to lend a hand. So all you have to do is reach out, right? We're going to be providing people information. Here's how you can reach out, start to have a conversation, figure out how you would like to volunteer, if that's something that you want to do, because you make it relatively easy, I would say, right? And, it's been a joy working with you guys.
Thank you. And we're open to ideas. If someone is interested in, we've had people reach out and say, hey, I'm a yoga instructor. I'd love to come once a week and do, volunteer my time to teach yoga or Tai Chi or a paint class. I mean, all those ideas are always welcome too.
Okay. Stephanie, I'm going to give you the opportunity to speak directly to the people here, right? You've shared so much about what's in your heart and a lot about Liberty House, which I think is amazing. But if you're looking for anything from this audience, either something you want to share or ask for, I would say this is your opportunity. Let them hear it.
Okay. Well, I believe that our veteran community is one of the most important communities in our country. That is, the more people we have supporting them, the more well taken care of they are. Liberty House is just a start. What I would love to do is franchise us and have one in every state, if not every city. But we're a good place to start if you're looking to support the veteran community.
Stephanie, you are an inspiration, truly. I mean, what you do every single day, the impact that you have is truly amazing. So we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We look forward to continuing to support Liberty House and just building this relationship. So thank you for your time today. We look forward to spending more time with Liberty.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, you guys have been so wonderful and a great partner, and we're excited about the future with you.
Thanks again, Stephanie.
Thank you. Bye.
This conversation was hopefully a reminder that community is not just a word, it's action. And Arcadia has seen firsthand this year what happens when businesses and clients and volunteers come together to make incredible impact. And the best part is that anybody can be a part of it. If you'd like to learn more about Liberty House, we encourage you to go visit libertyhouse.org. Better yet, there's all sorts of information below that you should absolutely check out if you're interested in donating or volunteering. We hope that you'll be part of this mission. Thank you for joining us for this very special episode of Saturday State of Mind. We'll see you next time.